right, everybody, welcome to another episode of Stay Creative, the show that inspires positive people to stay creative during this crazy pandemic. I got a special guest for you. That's right, we got Dan on board. Dan, Say hi to our guests, everybody.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for having me.
So Dan is a jack of all trades. He is an actor, he is a writer, and he also throws knives. So Dan, tell us a little bit about what you're doing to stay creative during this time.
It's a difficult thing to stay creative because you are the only one that can hold yourself responsible. But I've been taking this time to focus on my writing, focus on some photography, focus on my editing skills, and learning all kinds of different softwares to help me with my new series that I'm working on. So I'm trying to do all of that.
So, like I said, you have so many things that we could talk about, but this episode is only 10 minutes long. So let's lead with the knife throwing. Okay. How did you start doing knife throwing and axe throwing too?
Yeah, well, axe throwing actually came later, surprisingly. But the knife throwing thing is kind of a funny story, I guess. I don't know. It wasn't funny at the time. But I sort of had an accident while working on a project of mine where I was cutting this plastic box with a heated X-Acto knife, which is a knife that heats up when you plug it in. So it's like it's a sharp knife, but then it also is hot. Okay. And then while I was cutting this piece of plastic, I got really frustrated with it. It wasn't cutting correctly. It wasn't cutting all the way through. So what I did is the thing you should never do when you're holding a knife: switch your grip. And I went like this, and I switched it like this, and one thing led to another, and I slipped and I stabbed myself in the leg.
Horrible.
So yeah, I mean it's funny though, because it was heated, it cauterized the wound. So it was actually good that it was heated, but it also kind of cut through me like butter. Anyway, I'm gonna spare you the details. I was on crutches for 2 months after that, and I was very afraid of knives. And I didn't want to go through life like that. I didn't want to be scared of knives all the time. So I ordered a set of throwing knives just online, just a very cheap set. And I taught myself how to throw knives in my backyard at the time. And it helped me overcome my fear.
So I've heard that you are really, really good at throwing knives. It's not just that you're a hobbyist. Like, you can actually have someone standing there like this and throw around them and have the knives land near them. Elaborate.
Yeah, I mean that came later. First, I made sure that I could actually, throw a knife and stick it and have it not fly back at me, which was happening a lot. But then as I got more confident, I've always been good with accuracy. I've always been very accurate when throwing things, throwing a ball, throwing darts or something. And so I said, yeah, I bet I could do this. And then my friend Allison, who was just really fun and adventurous, said, hey, why don't you throw knives at me?
Which is the first thing I would have said. Yeah, I would have said that first too.
Yeah, which I thought was, wild, but I said, yeah, let's do it. Why not? And then we developed an act together. And then I just got more confident, and she kept pushing me to do things. And it's just, now it's a thing. Now it's a thing that I do.
You'll see all night. Dan, the Knife Man!
So then that segued into a job teaching people how to throw axes. I got to hear more about this.
Yeah, if it could be, I would teach people how to throw knives. And actually, I did that while working at an escape room that I sort of managed / owned. But the axe throwing thing, I mean, it just kind of made sense. They were hiring. My girlfriend took me to an axe throwing place, which I didn't really know existed, for my birthday, which is very sweet. I had a ton of fun, and I guess you can imagine that the skills from knife throwing transfer pretty well to axe throwing. So I did really well, and then I asked if they were hiring, and our axe coach said, absolutely, you should definitely apply, because I mean, you're just very good. So I did.
So you took a test and you weren't sure if you made it or not, right? You like didn't know if you made the cut.
I mean, yeah, exactly. I wasn't sure, but yeah, now I throw axes probably just as well as knives. And then I actually got to compete in an axe throwing competition, and I won 3rd place out of everybody. So yeah, it was pretty cool.
I remember when I was talking to you, you were telling me that like the muscles that you use, you're doing like an 8-hour shift or however long your shift was. And you're just like, oh my, yeah. I'm like, how you doing? You're like, oh, my arms are killing me.
Honestly, it's not even just throwing the axes that's hard. Cause I mean, you know, it's like what, like 1.5 to 2 pounds, like for an axe, especially like the big axes that we throw. I mean, they're like, you can't even see, the frame isn't big enough, but they're gigantic. They're like fireman axes that we throw. But the thing that kills, you're gonna laugh, but it's have you ever just sprayed a bottle, like have a spray bottle like this?
Yeah.
You do that all day because you have to keep the boards wet. And this right here gets your I can't show you, this gets your forearm.
Wow, look at that definition. Hold on, let's get that in close up. Look at that spray bottle definition. That's amazing.
It's ridiculous. No, seriously, it's the best workout ever. You could honestly make an entire workout and sell it like that. Just have spray bottles like this. I'm telling you.
So I would like you to now, during this time, one of the segments that we do is to actually have our guests try to inspire and encourage our audience to be creative. So I'm gonna throw it in your lap, and if you could do that.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, like I said before, it is difficult to be creative during this time, and nobody is going to tell you to do anything except you. I say, why not just go for it? I mean, you have all of this time and opportunity. Look at it as, I don't know, it's a really tough time for everybody, especially because, you know, this is a very serious thing, a pandemic, but why not try to be optimistic, and why not look at the bright side and take advantage of the time that you have been given to learn a new skill, learn a new trade, find a new hobby, just find out something new about yourself that you didn't know before.
So how have you been knife throwing at home? How does that work?
I mean, to be honest, I haven't been, and I'm desperately missing it. I have set up like little targets in my bedroom before, but I haven't really been doing that. So I'm jealous of everybody that has a backyard or something. I see on Instagram some of my friends have targets in their backyard where they can just throw axes or knives, and I'm like, oh, come on, why don't I have any of that?
Oh my gosh, yeah, you definitely don't want to be like trying to throw a knife or an axe and all of a sudden some kid walks by at some local park and you're like, I mean, that'd be like craziness. But you know, obviously, like you said, you're doing all your other stuff. You were learning how to adapt. So you pivoted to writing your screenplays and learning how to do After Effects and you know, planning. Even we've been talking about maybe even doing a TV show. So there's a lot of different other projects that you have time to work on, which is great. I love it.
Yeah, and it helps that other people are being creative and reaching out and saying like, hey, you know, while we have this time, let's work on something. Let's get something done. Let's accomplish something. So, you know, like I said, it's not always easy. Sometimes it's not even easy to get out of bed, but if you force yourself, or at least do it every once in a while, I think it'll be worth it.
All right, Dan, I want everyone to learn how they can find you, because you are Mr. Creative yourself. So how can they find you on Instagram?
All right, so on Instagram, my main handle would be Dactor. That's me, Dactoar. That's me. I know I need to change the name. It's a terrible name, but that is my main profile. And then for photography, if you want to follow me, it is Daniel James Photo LA. That is my personal photography company that I started, and I'm actually very grateful that I just got to get out of LA for a little bit and take some great photos. So some new photos will be coming very soon.
And also, if you guys are learning how to be creative, you can go to spygamestudios.com, join our community. We're all about helping you make your own TV show, websites, anything creative. We love it. We love working with people, definitely like Dan here. And you know what? It's been a pleasure having you on our show. Dan, thank you so much for taking the time to talk about knife throwing. It's just a fascinating topic, as well as all your other endeavors. So thanks for being on the show, and definitely stay safe and stay creative. Thank you.
Hey, you too. Thank you.